Hi guys, how's it going? My name is Evan, and I'm your mod from the Littleroot Lessons Discord, and I'm also the league coordinator for our LML, Littleroot Multi-Battle League. So we have a 8-week regular season, and now we are in week 7. That's like time just flies by, and I'm always very appreciative of everyone getting your matches in on time. And then as of now, I think we have about more than 50 games played already, and to get 4 people to connect to play a game is quite a feat. I understand that there were a lot of difficulties connecting, but everybody just went through it, and everybody was cooperative and polite with each other. So I really thank you guys very much. The chat is popping off. That will be a perfect read time. Okay, yeah. So once again, here with me, I have the members of Las Vegas Primarinas, KS and Pokert. How are you guys?
We're good. How are you, Evan?
Good, good. Joe, how about you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you for having us.
Is that because you guys won a match this week?
Yeah, last
Okay.
week with the loss, it was rough.
So this week is week 7, and like teams made trades, but then overall I felt like the trades didn't like come into effect as much. We didn't see a lot of new Pokemon. So I think it's only particularly in one match that these new Pokemon, the traded mons, did very well, and that would be Xerneas Mamma Mia's match that we will touch on later. So first of all, let's just jump into it and go through the first match. So this was Primarinas versus Puff Puff Pass, and it went on for quite a bit. It went all the way to the timer. I think it was kind of back and forth and quite well managed. But then I felt like the Primarinas had a game plan from the get-go, and they stuck with it, and it worked very well. One last thing I want to mention before I pass on to Joe for the play-by-play. I want to mention that this week's games are actually like, to me, very impressive, and they were very back and forth all the way to the end. So I want to I think it's really a job well done to everyone. Although some people in chat said that they didn't prep much, but it felt like people started to understand what like each player can do, and then the lines within each player, right? Like you prepare good switch-ins, and this week there were a lot of good switch-ins. Like I saw a Bronzong like trying to switch into a Giga Drain. Yeah, so that's very impressive, and it shows that like everybody has come very far in this journey, and like more or less started to understand how multi-battles work. Yep. So Joe, how did the match go for this game?
Okay, so we didn't prepare this time like the whole entire like turn by turn, play by play type of thing for these games, just to keep it like concise, I guess. So we'll just give a little summary of each game, and then yeah, I'll go over ours. We led with Registeel Togetic into their Mimikyu and Scrafty. Turn 1, we protected the Registeel and Scrafty faked out the Togetic, and then Mimikyu set up Trick Room. After that, we just kept going for Follow Me with Togetic, and we were able to redirect Close Combat and Will-Wisp away from Registeel and set up Curse Boost. And then after that, they realized they had to reverse the Trick Room because Registeel was just going to outspeed everything. And then they hard switched from Scrafty into Runerigus, and they ended up maxing after resetting the Trick Room. The Mimikyu tried to activate the policy with Shadow Sneak, but Togetic was still around to redirect it. And then Mimikyu hard switched into Marill to put Sing and Aqua Jet pressure on. Runerigus KO'd the Togetic, and Zeraora was able to come in and prevent the Marill for one more turn, and then KO the Marill with Plasma Fist, but they were still able to get Aqua Jet off after that. And during that time, we maxed the Registeel, and we were able to just go for Steel Spikes to keep boosting our defense after the Curse boost initially. And even after they were able to activate their weakness policy and get huge power onto the Runerigus because they ended Dynamax, we still lived a +2 huge power Earthquake comfortably and KO'd the Runerigus in return. After this, the Fungus came in and was able to spore the Volcanion, but the second turn they switched in their Tapu Fini as they tried to spore the Registeel, and they weren't able to do so because of the Misty Terrain. And then end of the game, I noticed a really cool, like interesting Tapu Fini set. They had Reflect and Nature's Madness, which was really good to kind of try to get rid of like the setup mons like Registeel. And then also it obviously did half the damage to Volcanion, while Fungus couldn't really pressure any damage to Spore. But in the end, we were able to finish the game with Registeel and Volcanion, being able to take out Scrafty. I think it was Scrafty, Meryl, like Fungus, and then Tapu Fini and Mimikyu was the only one left. And that was the end of the timer, so that was it.
Yeah, you became sort of a 2v1 against the Tapu Fini side, and then you guys realized that you have to try and KO Scrafty as quick as possible, and you did it easily with the body press. Yeah, I think Puff Pass made one small misplay, right? Like, they knew they had to either Will-O-Wisp or Spore into the Registeel, because Registeel is all set up with, I think, 3 attack boosts, right? And then 6 defense boosts. Then, but they thought, no, I didn't want my Mimikyu to take unnecessary damage, and then they switched out into Tapu Fini, and then they used Fungus to Spore Registeel, so that was a sad misplay. Yeah. However, I felt like from the get-go, you guys already prepared like the special tag of Curse Registeel, and that makes it very hard to break, because if Tapu Fini went for like Nature's Madness, then the question is, what else can the partner Mon follow up with, right? So I think that was a very good game plan, and we rarely see the Primarinas lead Registeel, and then this is a game that kind of shows what it can do.
Yeah, so a couple of things, right? We hard prepped to not lead Registeel, right? We hard prepped to actually bring Terrakion in this match, because we were worried about Centiskorch, we were worried about Latias and Metagross, and then when we saw team preview,
the Metagross is on the same side as...
Yeah, it also just looked like they were going to go hard Trick Room, so because of that, it became a pretty easy call to go Togetic Registeel, so we could stop their setup, because a lot of their setup on Runerigus, it looked like Runerigus was the Maxmon here. So a lot of their setup comes from like Shadow Sneak or Aqua Jet, and Togetic really just takes that away. So we were able to basically stall out their entire max without them getting the boost while they were maxed. So they only ended up getting it when we were already +5 defense, and they were so it was a little too late. And even if they had spored into
the Registeel,
we actually at that point, all we had to do was stall out. They actually gave us an extra KO at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
By not taking a little bit more time off the clock. So they gave us the Tapu Fini kill.
Yeah, I understand this, right? Like I've highlighted, you see that Mimikyu is actually on the same side as Metagross. Then the question is, what can proc the Metagross policy, right? Like, it's kind of weird for Runerigus to go for Bulldoze. That's why I think it makes sense. You guys felt that it was safe to bring Registeel. But the more I look at it, it feels like Puff kind of wanted to put the Metagross there so that to try and discourage you guys from going for a max Steel Spike into the player 1 slot. Yeah, but I think like maybe you guys were confident with the Registeel that was set up, and then like everything turned out okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So any other pointers? It's so sad we didn't see Swampert or Decidueye at all, because once again, like, if you have a very dominant wall against your opponents, especially this Registeel, then in my case sometimes it's my Skarmory. So these two mons are really like tearing up the competition, because currently I haven't checked the kill leaderboard yet, but I think these two mons are way up there together with the Volcarona. So it's interesting to see that our current kill leaders are mons that can stay as a wall and then at the same time protect your partners in the back. So this Registeel really protected Swampert and Decidueye.
Well, two Volks are in the top 3. Registeel, Volcanion, and then Volcarona is number 1, I think.
That's because they got extra kills. Yeah, Volcarona also got kills.
Means Volcarona, yeah, nice one.
Yeah.
And then actually that Tapu Fini kill, I was gonna say, it's gonna come up pretty big, I think, because like maybe we can get to it later with the leaderboards thing, but
Yes.
for the last week, the big thing is going to be like if Puff Puff
Oh, yeah.
Pass or Omanytes is going to have a better differential. Like
Yeah.
if they can both win, it's going to depend on who takes the more KOs in the next game
Yeah.
as to who makes the playoff spot.
That makes sense. Okay, so that's about it. Let me try and adjust my music volume. I'm afraid that it might be too loud. Okay, so that was game 1. Then game 2 of the Rose group. This is between Martin Solrocks, the undefeated team, that was still in the Rose group, versus Xerneas Mamma Mia. And yeah, this was like, I think both sides had interesting game plans. However, I feel like Martin Solrocks might not have tested the matchup beforehand, so sounded like you guys were busy for the week. Because Xerneas knew full well going into the match that +1 Hitmonlee, because Hitmonlee gets a grassy seed boost from grassy terrain with Rillaboom's help. Xerneas knew that the +1 defense doesn't matter because Hitmonlee's defense stat, I think it's only 53. So Zapdos with max airstream and stab definitely kills Hitmonlee, even though the Hitmonlee was at Dynamax. Was Dynamax. So maybe instead of going for like Hitmonlee going for max bounce into the Zapdos, maybe it could go for max Steel Spike. That will make the game more interesting. However, what happened was wait, is Hitmonlee in player 2 slot? Yeah, okay, I think
No,
Oh,
maybe
and that's turn 1, right?
yeah, I think maybe
Yeah,
Solrocks got it wrong. But I think maybe Hitmonlee and Rillaboom swapped. I don't remember, but
No, the lines are right.
oh, okay,
But
yeah. So
player
this has
one,
to be
player
player
2 is
2.
wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I'll go edit it later. Yeah, don't worry, guys. So what happened was Hitmonlee max, Zapdos max, and then Hitmonlee went for max airstream. He only did 50% to the Zapdos. We rarely see Zapdos in VGC, so that was very impressive. I didn't know Zapdos had that much bulk. And then Zapdos went for airstream into Hitmonlee, and it was a clean 1-hit KO, even though Hitmonlee was Dynamax with a +1 defense boost. Then all Persian needed to do was, I think, fake out the Rillaboom. And then after that, Zapdos could keep going for max airstreams. And then this week, Xerneas acquired Zapdos and Mandibuzz. The Mandibuzz was particularly useful because Mandibuzz could do stab Snarl into the Spectra and the Gastrodon. So that really put a dent in Solrocks like defenses as well as as well as their offense. Yeah, because Spectra and Gastrodon and maybe the Licky were their main like offensive attackers, right? After the Hitmonlee went down. So it was pretty well managed. And then they were able to get the Ninetales in, and then Ninetales was able to go for, I think, Moonblast into the Grimmsnarl. Yeah, and it was a clean KO. I think this week Martin's Grimmsnarl, Solrock's Grimmsnarl didn't bring screens, right?
No, it did.
No, I think it did
It
go
did.
for screen.
But even after
It
that,
went for Reflect.
Oh yeah, it just went for Reflect. Oh yes, it did. Yeah, because it was afraid of the Zapdos. Yeah, so ultimately, I felt like the Mandibuzz was sort of the glue for the team, and it was always able to go for Snarl, Tailwind, or Toxic, which is a very good counter to Gastrodon. Because if Gastrodon has unlimited recover, it still doesn't work as long as you keep Gastrodon on the field. So overall, I think it was a very solid game plan from Xerneas' side, and they knew what they could do from the beginning. Yeah. Did I miss out anything? Joe, do you have any other notes?
Not much. I think it was just really, like you said, it was a really good game plan from Xerneas to just pick up the KOs on Hitmonlee and Rillaboom. Even like with the surprise Hitmonlee turn 1 max, it still was able to pick up the KO, and then after that the Persian just put on a lot of pressure with like Snarl and Parting Shot to reduce damage output. Yeah. And then and then once Zapdos died, they had Mandibuzz and Persian next to each other, which put a ton of like Snarls down onto both.
Yeah.
I think it was Licky on the field at that time, but Spectre, like Licky Licky was physical, I guess, or at seismic toss, and then like if Gastrodon came in, it was still getting snarled, but
Yeah.
Snarl was still doing very good damage onto Spectre as well, even on top of the special attack drops. So that was really nicely done.
So yeah, Xerneas traded the Sceptile for Mandibuzz. I thought that was very valuable, right?
Mm.
And yeah, and then Sceptile added that additional like grass typing, which is pretty bad because Trevenant has already a ton of weaknesses. So I think the Mandibuzz seems to be a very good pickup, and they've been using it very well. Mandibuzz is always very bulky, and I think going into the playoffs, then this would be a very good addition to the team. Then, yeah.
All right. So I have one thing while I was watching this game is they could have made this differential so much higher.
Oh yes.
After turn one, after
point.
turn two, when they took out Hitmonlee and then they took out Rillaboom, right? They actually didn't. They ended up taking every second for the turns, even though they had made their move decisions, for a stall game, and they had already taken out like most of the damage output from that team, and they had a whole bunch. Like everything else was kind of special and was going to get snarled down. So basically, at that point, it's just go time, right? So like you try and get as much differential as you can, especially since they're the team that's ahead of you in the standings, and they're the team that. So if they had taken more KOs, which they easily could have in this game, I think they could have at least taken 2 more, maybe they might have been able to just take out
5-0,
all of the Mons. Yeah, they might have just been able to 5-0. But they played very slow, and they also made switches that they didn't have to make a couple of times, where if they had snarled, they could have taken out Spectrier with Persian, because the Mandibuzz snarls weren't doing as much damage as the Persian snarls. But yeah, and then they clear a side, and it's 2v1 the whole way.
Yes.
Right. But they played it very passively, and they ended up with only a +2 differential.
Yeah.
When they could have easily had a +4 differential.
Yeah, that's actually
and that changes everything for them, right? Now Martin Solrock gets the bye next week, right?
Yeah.
So it's a free +2. Now they have to win their next game, and they have to win it by at least 2. To not get tied.
Okay, I'm not gonna say like what what Xerneas is thinking like with respect to the leaderboard. There might be a strategy there, but Milma is not gonna say it too. But then hindsight is 2020. I think this plan makes I think this point like from KS is very very valid, because Asada came after the game and he told me that like they could have taken a lot more KOs, and they like kind of regret because they just didn't want to fall for crits, or like they just said that they wanted to play more careful and try and secure the win. Yeah, but looking back at the board state, looking back at the mons on each side, and them being mostly special attackers, yeah, that's correct. They could have taken way more KOs.
So I
think a more commanding win. Yeah.
Right. As soon as turn 2 happens, right, you can take turn 1 slow because you don't know what's going to happen, and then turn 2 slow because you don't know what's going to happen. But then when those two things are off the field, there you go. Like you can just go fast at that point. You don't take your time because you can steamroll this team at that point because you've got a huge lead.
Yep. Very insightful point. I think this is something that all the teams going into playoffs can like keep in mind, and it can be useful, especially when we are jumping into best of 3 territory. Then that's gonna be important to steal some games, because we already recognize that this Persian Zapdos game plan is very strong, and maybe Martin Solrock might not see it coming that a Zapdos can OHKO a Dynamax Hitmonlee. Yeah. So Martin says, this Martin is from Xerneas, Milmat. He says, valid points indeed, because we are mainly hex. Yeah, and then we wanted to, so playing safe. I think nothing's wrong with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
no,
there's always
nothing's
some good in
wrong.
playing safe, but then
No, like nothing's
there
wrong.
was a
I'm
point.
not
Yeah,
saying they
there's a
did
point.
anything wrong, but I think they got into such a big advantage that they didn't have to. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand why they did. I was just pointing out while I was watching that they didn't have to.
Yeah, and Joe?
So even after turn 2, I think they could still keep playing safe, but then there was a point where it was just Spectre was the last one to player 1 slot because they
Correct.
killed Grimstar on
Yeah.
Rillaboom. And then it was just going for like double protect and
protect,
stuff.
yeah.
So if they just killed it earlier, maybe,
Makes
and
sense.
then they have a very easy, like, just the last slot left
Correct.
to finish
The
it off. And they could have
2v1.
kept taking the kills.
Yeah, the 2v1 against Gastrodon and Licky Licky. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
quite easy. Yeah, so not too bad. I think Solrocks kind of played to their outs as well, and then they maybe took as much time as possible for each turn to try and reach the end goal of the 20-minute timer. And
Yeah.
then to Papi Kantan, the music that you are hearing is from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, my favorite game from Pokemon. So I'll send you the playlist later. So let's look back at the nicknames, because I didn't mention you guys' nicknames. It's like a play on words, because you guys are playing against the Puff Puff Pass. I don't know what pass that is, but it's definitely not a bus pass. So okay. And for Martin Sorok, like it's also a play on words, right? Every mon had cap in it.
Yeah, all rocks.
Sorry, I mean for Sorok side,
Oh, okay.
man, it could have been like cap horse or cap. I have no idea. Then for Xerneas side, these are all
Rocks.
Yeah, geometry. No, geography. My bad. Yeah, geography.
Wait, no, geology.
Geology? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Geology.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in geography, we also learn about rocks. I don't remember, man. So
Geography is about like countries and stuff, like location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand what stalagmite means. It's like the rocks that hang from the sky, and it's like Zapdos. So very cool.
Why is there 2 stalagmites?
I think it was a mistake. Yeah, it was a
I think
typo.
one is
Oh.
stalactite.
Yeah,
one is
that'll come from the
it goes
ground.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so good win by Xerneas Mamma Mia, and now their record is same as Martin Sorok, 6-1. So a very interesting match and interesting outcome. So our third match from Rose Group is Tyrunts versus Omanytes. This is a game of like trading KOs, but I felt like the Omanytes have been pretty unlucky like all season long, and they still managed to squeeze out wins, probably with the bulk of their team, and also especially with prep. So I thought that was quite impressive. So looking at this, right, you can see that Omanytes brought Landorus, Serena, and Thunderous again. 3 mons weak to ice. Then Tyrants correctly prepped a lot of ice moves. So what happened was Tyrants led with Omasta and Tornadus, and then Omanytes led with Volcarona and Sableye. I think that's a very, very like solid lead because Sableye offers them a lot of support. So Sableye easily went for Fake Out into Tornadus, and then Volcarona went straight for Giga Drain into Omasta, taking the 1-hit KO. So immediately up, 6-5, right? Then it became a game of like trading weathers. So Sableye went for Sunny Day first, and then but Seismitoad came in for Omasta, and Seismitoad protected. Yeah, so Volcarona couldn't get 2 Giga Drains off. Then Tyrant switched Seismitoad into Bronzong to try and take a Giga Drain. So good switching from Tyrants, and then they set up Trick Room. And more importantly, Tornadus went for an Air Slash into Volcarona, and Volcarona got the flinch, so it couldn't kill Bronzong in Sun with Heat Wave. So that was very sad. Like, I think Omanytes were very agitated at that point. So Trick Room was set up, and Omanytes was still able to play around it and switch around, because with just Bronzong and Tornadus on the field, that isn't going to help much. So they really had to switch in Seismitoad or Tyrantrum at some point. They managed to switch in Seismitoad, and Seismitoad maxed. Then something very interesting happened. This was like I'm not sure. I think Omanytes kind of got lucky in return because I think they never expected it, and it just so happens to be the Dynamax turns that like allowed them to do this like magic trick. So Purloin went for trick. So it was Purloin, Seismitoad. Seismitoad was maxed versus Landorus and Pelipper. Then Purloin went for trick onto the Landorus, tricking the full incense, or I think it was Lagging Tail, onto Landorus. And then it didn't take effect that turn, so Landorus went for fly before the Seismitoad. Then Seismitoad went for max ice, it didn't do anything into Landorus. But now Landorus has the Lagging Tail. That means Landorus will move last. So Tyrunts, I think they didn't realize. So they went for max ice into Landorus again. So they wasted 2 max move because they tricked the Lagging Tail onto Landorus. That's crazy. Then after that Landorus came down, it didn't even take any damage and it was at full health. So a very interesting turn of events, and like Omanytes just kept putting on the pressure with damage, and the Pelipper was quite impressive also because Pelipper prepared like Weather Ball so that it can hit the Tyrantrum like stronger with base 100 move instead of Skull. So it took the KO on the Tyrantrum. I think the crit might have mattered. The Tyrantrum just went down to Ice type Weather Ball because Seismitoad did 3 Hailstorms. So in the end, the Omanytes was like Tyrantrum was down to just the Bronzong slot. Then Omanytes just used Thunderous to, I think it was lash out onto Bronzong and killed it easily. Yeah, so Omanytes managed to win with no Dynamax. So congrats to you guys there. That's KS's dog. Okay, yeah. Do you guys have any more points? Very impressive from Omanytes to with all that hacks in the early game, still managed to squeeze out the win by just pressing on the damage. Yeah.
They had that important air slash flinch onto their Volcarona, and then they also had, I think, a Will-O-Wisp miss from Sableye into Seismitoad, I think it was. So those are both like pretty, yeah, they were important RNG moments. But then they just played very well in general, and then they said that they brought Pelipper over Lucario on accident, which ended up being quite helpful for them.
Yeah.
But they also said Lucario was good in that matchup, which is also true because like if Lucario was up against, you know, Tyrantrum, it's still going to do a lot of damage anyway. But Pelipper ended up being very helpful, and then they just switched out of Pelipper because it was paralyzed, and Thunderous was able to easily clean up the Bronzong.
Yeah, real quick, I forgot to mention this. Yeah, I watched the perspective from Lemmy's side. So Lemmy, if you're watching, man, that Pelipper just put in a lot of work. I think next time you can like commit to something like Pelipper Barraskewda. I think that's quite strong. So what Lemmy did was he selected the 3 mons, he didn't press done, and then he went to the the team screen, and then he discussed with his teammate, and then the timer just went down. So he locked in Sableye. Luckily he put Sableye at the top, because that was their main game plan. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that before.
Yeah, we did that before, so I understand. So
everybody understands, right? Because Milmat likes to time out as well. Milmat in chat. I haven't. Yeah, like I was so particular about not timing out because I like to put like random like decoy mons at the top. Then if I time out, it will be horrible because I usually bring like rubbish items. So I think just remember, you know, try not to time out. Okay, KS, what do you have?
I feel like Magearna could have been better over Purloin here.
Good point.
And then that turn 1 where they just let Omastar die.
Yeah, that was strange.
Isn't that like a free protect Trick Room or something? Or protect Tailwind or whatever they were planning to do with Omastar.
Yeah, the problem is because of that slot, like Omastar and Seismitoad, you can just Giga Drain that. Even if Bronzong comes in, it's fine. Because like even if they set up Tailwind, they still have Sableye, so you just quash the Omastar and then you Giga Drain it again.
Right. Yeah.
So it seemed fine, but they didn't have to let it die turn 1. You're right.
But yeah, and that's another thing about this, like the slotting, right? Why is Omastar and Why are Omastar and Seismitoad on the same side? Why do you need 2 like very heavy grass weaknesses on the same side? You can have them on different sides, right? So I don't know.
It's interesting. I think Tyrants sort of tried to commit to like trying to go fast if possible, because I think both the Rain Setters, Tornadoes and Purloin are on the same side, and then the Omastar and Seismito are on the same side. So they maybe wanted to have some strategy that they can max. Yeah. But then
Magearna's team
going
is
up,
generally solid though.
exactly, yeah. So once again, going up against a team that you know has a Pelipper, so it's a bit of a questionable strategy on Tyrants, and yeah, that's quite unfortunate.
Also, this could have been a good week for Defiant. Torn.
Ooh, wow, that's
Ooh.
interesting. Yeah, that
Because
makes
you know
sense.
Lando's coming, right?
Yes.
So I don't know.
Yeah, so that's maybe can get more flexible in draft league, but unfortunately the Tyrants are sort of out of the running. Yeah, so just go ahead and play the next week's match and then have fun, you know. Definitely, Lucario had Lucario set up to take on the Tyrantrum. Yeah, Lemmy popped off when that the hail the ice type
Yeah.
weather ball killed the Tyrantrum. That was quite epic. So that was impressive. And that was a good move also, because Tyrantrum wouldn't have expected it. Yeah, so overall, good win and one in the books, right? Because Omanytes managed to win without Dynamax. So good job. And
Yeah.
so sad to see like the Magearna team sort of falling off, but this team might have been drafted to fully try and support Magearna. As you can see from the Charger Bug pick, maybe the Togepi pick. So sometimes it shows that you might need some other mons to help do all the damage. Because, you know, in this match, we can see that Omanytes just kept pressing on the damage, right? And then Tyrant's team weren't bulky enough to take the onslaught.
Yeah. This time they brought most of their damaging mons, like, besides Magearna, in the Seismitoad, Omastar, Tyrantrum. That's generally what they've been using to take KOs besides Magearna. But then having both of the grass weaknesses, even like understandably kind of maybe they forgot that Volcarona has Giga Drain, but there's a Serena on the other team, so just generally having two grass weaknesses in your game, or two 4x grass weaknesses in your game, both on the same slot, is very risky, and they kind of got punished for it.
Yeah, also this doesn't feel like a terrible week for Como too, looking at his team. Like there's no fairy type to really
There's
take
the two
advantage of it.
genies though.
Yeah, what about them? The Airstream?
Flying type, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe. Yeah, alright. So congrats to the Omanytes. Actually, the Omanytes are still in the running. I think we can discuss this later. It's gonna be quite interesting. It's a crazy race for the number 4 slot on in Rose Group. Like, what the heck. So now the last game in Rose Group that we are covering. So this is Pokepals versus Last Buffet. Essentially, this is what like an important match that Pokepals needed to win. But I think from the way they played, it was quite like it felt like they didn't prepare as much, or they weren't aware of a lot of the coverage moves that the Last Buffet could have. So this was quite sad to see. Joe, do you manage to do to take some notes?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, let's try and recall what happened.
Okay, so Last Buffet led the Incin and the Obstagoon into a Nuzleaf and a Latios, and just right away they were able to use their AV Incin, which was not under pressure by either of these mons really, besides like possibly Fake Out, but
correct. Nuzleaf, yeah.
Yeah, just right away they went for a U-turn onto the Nuzleaf, and that was able to KO it, I think, and then they just went back into, what was it? Suicune, yeah. And from there, Suicune's able to like set up Tailwind and just have a good speed advantage against the other team. And then eventually they got in Rotom Mo, which was able to just OHKO the Jellicent with Leaf Storm. And that was a really good KO, because Jellicent was going to be a little bit difficult to KO if it just kept recovering or something, so that was nice. And then there was one turn where they KO'd the Nuzleaf, turn 1 actually. instead of going into the Whimsicott, which is what Last Buffet expected, because they hard switched to Latios into Cobalion on turn 1, and then the Nuzleaf just went down to U-turn. And then they had the chance to go into Whimsicott, right? But they went for Heliolisk instead. And then they electrified the Obstagoon to possibly take like a fighting type move onto the Cobalion, but instead Obstagoon went for Snarl, so the Last Buffet really benefited there because it would have activated Justified from the Snarl. But instead it was an electric type Snarl, so that was very good. And then they were able to really like completely mitigate the Heliolisk's damage output from there.
Yeah.
And then there's one turn where Pokepals made a really nice play, I thought, to switch in the Darmanitan without much downside because they weren't really getting pressured by damage from the Last Buffet side. And they were kind of playing passively, like clicking Snarl a lot just to do damage reduction. But from Last Buffet's end, having the option to just Tailwind with Suicune and intimidate the Darmanitan with Incineroar was very useful, and they were able to just KO the Darmanitan with Max Solgaleo eventually. And I think Pokepals lost their Cobalion very early. I think it was to Flare Blitz from Incin. And then just from there, Pokepals were never in a good position to max, so they didn't. And in the end of the game, they were just trying to desperately freeze the Solgaleo that was maxed and setting up Steel Spikes with Ice Punch from Darmanitan, but they weren't able to do so. And then the ending comment, it was very well played from the Last Buffet, and I'm really happy to see that they were able to break their unfortunate losing run. So good job.
Yeah, I think it wasn't. Baodet said we accidentally got bailed out. I don't think so because.
I think
like,
almost every turn was very, very solid from there, and just like even if kind of Pokepals maybe you did some misplays, it was just everything was pretty safe. They were like setting up for a Solgaleo endgame, and that was really good.
I think maybe Obstagoon might have been the secret sauce because you guys didn't bring Obstagoon at all. Okay, yeah. So Flare Blitz crit into the Cobalion, yeah, true, and that definitely mattered. That's true. But then, like.
But either way, the Flare Blitz, right? As soon as you Flare Blitz into a Cobalion outside of max, it's not going to max anymore, or it's going to be at like 30% or something. So
exactly.
It was just a good move.
Yes. Then I think the Insane just worked very well because like I'm not sure if the Nuzleaf was Evola, I didn't check, but that U-turn just took the straight up Oko onto Nuzleaf and just taking out one Mon from the opponent's side so quickly. So what else do I want to say? I think the Obstagoon really put on a bit of pressure on the Latios. Then Pokepals played overall. Like if you guys can watch the match back, I can feel like Pokepals played very defensively because there was so much pressure. You guys let both dark types that have the potential to Dynamax in front of their Latios. So maybe Pokepals just called something wrong. Maybe they called this like Solgaleo Lopunny lead that the Last Buffet has always been doing. So I think it's important to cover for more options because maybe instead of Latios, I think Cobalion lead might be useful, Cobalion Whimsicott, or maybe even Darmanitan. Yep.
Yeah, they didn't even bring the Whimsicott, so they had to Tailwind with Latios in that case, and they didn't run Tailwind this week. So as soon as Suicune was able to Tailwind, they just had all the speed control in their favor.
And then one last thing I want to say for Baodet's side is that this is the power of a very bulky team. That you have natural bulk already, so you can maybe put a little bit more EVs into offense. And this week really showed because you guys set up just one Tailwind, and after that, all you need to do is just click attacks, right? And then the offense really mattered, and it chipped down Pokepals so much because they kept doing defensive switches, trying to get into a good position. And then all these damage really added up and it became like clean KOs, right? So getting the numbers up all the way through, keeping your Solgaleo safe in the back that you can Dynamax anytime, then that's a very commanding game plan.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't bring Torkoal.
Or even Whimsicott, I feel like maybe it's just better. Yeah.
I don't know.
And I'm also not sure what the Nuzleaf did on turn 1, so I gotta check. Like
I think it faked out Obstagoon, didn't it?
No.
Faked out Obstagoon and then died to U-turn.
Did it get a move? Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So good job to the Last Buffet. About time. Maybe next week. Next week try and squeeze out another win. That'll be fun. So
it would actually be a deal if they did.
it would upset something, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Fourth
so
place
Talk
match.
about it when we
wait,
talk about the
let's talk about it now, right? So for the Rose group, congrats to the Primarinas, Xerneas, and then Omanytes, and the last buffet for your wins. And then this is how the leaderboard looks like, right? So we have 3 teams sitting at 6 and 1. Very commanding performance all season long. Because now we are on our second last week. Then I think there is a 3-way fight for the 4th place spot. Okay, I don't watch a lot of sports, so I think I need you guys to help me here.
Mm.
Like is there a way that Pokepals can win? That it has to be a certain, like it has to be a few scenarios that can happen
Yeah.
for Pokepals
It would
to
have
win.
to be both Puff Puff and Omanytes would have to lose, and then Pokeballs win by like probably a decent number. Like say if Puff Puff lost like -3 or whatever, and then they got the 0, and Pokeballs got like a +5, then that could do it.
Yeah, so the
Ah,
magic number to beat Puff for Pokepals to beat Puff Puff is 8. So it has to be 8 in either direction. So they have to go +4 and Puff Puff has to go -4 and lose. And then they also have to have the Omanytes lose, and the magic number against the Omanytes is 7. So they have to have the Omanytes lose also, and they have to have it lose by like if they win by 4, they would have to have them lose by 3.
I
So
see.
it's 7, 8, and they have to have both outcomes in their favor.
I see. So this week, Puff Puff Pass is going up against
Tyrunts.
Tyrunts. Oh, and
Yeah.
then
And then
Omanytes,
Omanytes against Last Buffet.
Last Buffet.
So those 2 games are the very crucial ones, and then Pokepals is against
Yeah, Baodet, you are the gatekeeper.
Xerneas.
You're the gatekeeper for the Omanytes.
Oh, but then the Pokepals have to also beat Xerneas, and they have to beat him
Yeah.
by a significant amount.
Oh my
Yeah, that's gonna be
gosh.
quite tough.
Yeah, it's like a Herculean task
So
for Pokepals.
yeah, that's kind of gonna be a very dream scenario for Pokeballs if they can pull it off. But Puff Puff Pass and Omanytes are both also very close. Like if either of them win and the other loses, then that's instantly in.
Yes.
And like if both of them win, then it's gonna depend on who gets more differential
Right.
because
So
Omanytes
they
is down
both
by 1.
have to try
My
to,
gosh,
to
yeah.
get as many KOs as possible.
What an exciting week. Oh dear. Wow, this
So that could go very well or very poorly for one of the teams. If they go very offensive and they end up getting like a surprise early KO on their side, then maybe they just kind of get snowballed on and lose.
wow.
But
Yeah,
they
this
could also
is
snowball all the way.
okay. So this is like, yeah, back against the wall. So this base is sort of both sides. If they both get the win, ideally, then it's also about seeing who can get the higher differential in your games.
Yep.
Man, damn, that's very daunting. And if I were in that position, I'll be very nervous. Ooh. Okay, so that's our summary for our Rose group. Yeah, very good performance from the top 3 teams, and I think very well deserved to
Yeah.
be in the top 3 spot and guaranteed to be in our playoffs. So good job to you guys.
Just curious, if they were to tie on differential, what's the second tiebreaker?
It's the head-to-head.
Okay,
So
so
between,
I guess Omanytes win if they tie.
right, because
think Omanytes
Omanytes won Puff Puff Pass, right?
Yeah.
Was it? Let me check which week was it. Oh, it was just last week.
Yeah. Looks like it.
Yeah.
And all of
Omanytes
this is
Puff Puff Pass was week
because
1.
and all of this drama is because there was 2 life orbs on a team.
Wait, so who did Puff Puff Pass play last week?
They played
Did
Malcolm.
they have a buy or
No,
something?
that was Omanytes. Omanytes played Malcolm. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But you have it on the other screen, right? You have
Puff Puff played
their whole
Pokepals.
schedule
That
on
was
the
it.
other screen.
Pokepals.
Sorry. So leaderboard, Puff Puff Pass and Omanytes. Oh, shoot! It's the first. Oh, it's week 1. It's week 1. It's not the exhibition week.
Wait
Wow.
a minute.
Okay, let's go back down memory lane. Look at my weekly recaps. So many. Oh man, I went too far down.
And to clarify what Lemmy said on the chat, they are not the only team in rows with no
We
buy.
didn't get a buy either.
We also did not get a buy.
Oh, there we go. Yay, I found it. So Omanytes won. Puff Puff Pass 4-0. And because the Metagross missed the rock slide in Trick Room. And then Volcarona just went on to just kill this slot.
4 kills, yeah.
Ouch. That's quite a tough kill for Puff Puff Pass to swallow. So I feel like Puff Puff Pass really need to put in their all this week and fight hard for your top 4 spot.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Both teams are both very capable of winning this week because the clutch moment.
Yes.
They have very good teams overall. And then I also think both Last Buffet and Texas Tyrunts are also very capable of stopping them. So I'm pretty excited to see how it goes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Good luck to everyone in the Rose group next week. Yo, Kaizen, tuning in during work. We stand tuning in during work.
The Infernape sub.
Okay, so now let's touch on the Peony groups matches. There were only 2 matches being played because there are 2 groups, 2 teams that dropped out, unfortunately. So, but then this is crazy because later when we talk about the leaderboards again, there is a 4-way fight for the 3rd and 4th place, and it's just so close. And it's quite exciting, even going into the last week of playoffs. Anything can happen. So let me touch on my match against Shellder. If Shellder is in chat, I think there's a few things I want to clarify because you guys can watch my Twitch VOD for proof that somehow it was just the server that like kicked us all out. And I think it happened in Baudet's game as well. So it wasn't us, it wasn't me and Kaizen. Oh yeah, just nice, Kaizen is here just in time. It wasn't us like trying to stall for time. It just happened that way that the server kicked us out. So all you gotta do is just reconnect. Cause Shellder were like, damn, this like Infernape, what are you guys doing? Trying to stall for time? Maybe you guys chose the wrong mons in the first match and then kick yourselves out to try and choose the correct mons in the next match. So but that's absolutely not what we did. Yeah. So we already had the Sneasel and Zapdos lead in mind. We are always gonna lead that. And then Shellder led with Oranguru and Leafeon. Based on every week's usage stats, I could tell that Shellder likes to play slow and then lead with a sort of a defensive core, try and set up screens with the Oranguru or set up Tailwind with the Articuno and then play from there. And I think that's a very good strategy, making sure that you keep your Groudon, Leafeon and Regieleki in the back safe and not take any damage, then get the free switch in and then max and like do good things with your Dynamax turns. Then at the same time, I think it's a good strategy to stall out your opponent's Dynamax before you start activating your Dynamax. So that's what Shellder always had in mind. However, we prepared a Zapdos with White Herb and a Sneasel with Scarf. That's mental. So this is because we thought that Shellder would lead with Regieleki, and Regieleki could go for either Electro Web or Eerie Impulse onto our Zapdos, and then we covered for that. So Zapdos will always be faster than Groudon if they lead it. Then Sneasel had the choice to go for Scarf, Rain Dance, Fake Tears, or Icy Wind. So that could account for a lot of different things. And our Sneasel this week didn't bring Fake Out. That was mental. So we went straight for, because seeing the Oranguru lead, we needed to stop Trick Room. So we ignored the Leafeon, as Leafeon should be threatened by Zapdos' Max Airstream, and we went straight for Fake Tears and Max Airstream into Oranguru. Like we won't go for Max Lightning because they have a Groudon switch in. So turn 1, we swiftly took out the Oranguru, and in turn 1, Shellder hard switched the Leafeon to Miltank. That's a defensive switch and that's respectable. Then turn 2, Groudon came in. Groudon had to protect because it wasn't its turn to Dynamax yet. And then we switched out Sneasel because we didn't want to get locked into the Fake Tears and we were in Sun. So we switched out Sneasel into Sandaconda and just nice, the Miltank went for Play Rough trying to snipe the Sneasel. And then it set up on Sandaconda. That was so good because we had the plan to, if Zapdos goes down, we had to plan to bring in Dracovish and be in Sand with Sand Rush. So Zapdos went for Max Airstream, not taking the KO on Miltank. Then it was time for Groudon to Dynamax. And it just so happens we prepared a very bulky Sandaconda with Glare. So we glared into the Groudon, but we didn't expect Miltank to go for Helping Hand. So Miltank Helping Handed and the Groudon just went straight for the Max Quick into Sandaconda, disrespecting our Skarmory switch in, and then it killed our Sandaconda. That was quite sad. But we had the free switch in into Sandaconda, so I think that actually turned out well on our side, because we could go for Iron Defense because the Groudon was paralyzed, so it would move after the Skarmory. So we went for Iron Defense, and then Zapdos. Miltank died to Sand. Yeah, so sad. That's why we only have 5 kills. Yeah. Then, because the Sand was set up by Groudon, so Leafeon had to switch in. They didn't want their Moltres to take unnecessary damage. Then both sides protected, which was a good play. Then Zapdos couldn't get. Zapdos protected from Groudon's Max Rock Fall. Yeah. Then after that, they switched out Leafeon so that Moltres takes the Hurricane from Zapdos. And then the Hurricane did exactly like 55%, and the Berserk didn't proc, because Berserk doesn't proc when you take chip from Weather. So the Hail chip brought, the Sand chip brought Moltres down to like 48%, and it didn't proc the Berserk, and then Shellder was confused. Yeah, I think they didn't know this interaction. Then Groudon was easily able to kill Zapdos with Max Rock 4, and then our Dracovish came in with 2 turns of Sand. Then Shellder did something very smart. They hard switched Moltres back into Leafeon to take a Fisher's Rend, and then they hard switched Groudon into Articuno. They hard switched Groudon into Articuno to try and take a Body Press, and Articuno survived. So very smart switching, and like overall very good gameplay from Shellder's side. So it gave us a lot of, like, they really fought hard, and it gave us a tough road to try and win. But ultimately, like Dracovish and Sandaconda, Dracovish and Skarmory, we set up 2 Iron Defense, so we are at +4 defense, and we were able to like bulk it out and kill the opponent's mons. They really needed Moltres to get 2 Fury Rough flinches onto Skarmory to win the game. So we were a bit fortunate there to avoid the Fury Rough flinch. But overall, at the end, they were also, like, the timer came up, 3 minutes. They could stall us out to maintain the differential so that we don't get a +3 differential. We could get even a +2, I believe, like, or +1. But they were very, like, they wanted to get more kills, so it was a bit careless because they thought their Articuno could freeze dry to kill our Dracovish because the Sand ran out. However, we had Protect on Dracovish, and we went for the safe play to just Protect. Yeah. So what pointers do you all have?
So when I was watching this match, I was just like, why is Leafeon the lead here? Right?
It makes sense.
didn't.
It makes sense because they want to hard switch into Groudon and max Leafeon, because Leafeon this week is live op with Iron Head, Max Quick, and Max Grass out of Solar Blade. That is, I believe, 150 base power grass move.
Yeah, right. No, I know, but you have Zapdos and Skarmory, and it just felt like it was an easy lead that Zapdos was coming. I don't
even
see.
Victini and Sneasel were also kind of pressuring the damage on Leafeon.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Your whole team pressure, like so many mons on your team pressure Leafeon, that leading Leafeon didn't make. I just wasn't sure why. I felt like they've had their most success when they lead Moltres Galar, and it seemed to have an okay matchup here. I mean, exactly, except for Zapdos, right? But it's kind of bulky also. So I don't know. Oranguru could have even instructed Fury Wrath, and he got 2 Fury Wraths off, which would have been very interesting.
That makes sense, yeah.
But
yeah, so that might be like just a flaw in their game plan. I'm pretty sure they wanted the Leafeon to go for quick or something.
And Aleki seems to have a pretty good matchup too.
Yeah, exactly.
True, yeah.
It
We
was
were very
very
afraid.
risky because
Like,
of
I mean,
the
Sandaconda's
Skarmory
there,
constantly.
but
Yeah,
other
that's
than
strange.
Sandaconda,
That's strange. So if Shellder, you're watching these, because I watched Shellder's YouTube video, then they were like, this like Evan's definitely gonna lead with Zapdos Sneasel. Yes, we called it Zapdos Sneasel, but in the end, like it felt
why are
like
you leading Leafeon
yeah,
against
so
that?
it felt a bit weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
Feels super threatened.
Okay. Yeah, but then Kaizen knows this because we struggled so much. And we tested on Showdown, and we know that we always die to something like Reggie, Lecky, Groudon. And there's nothing much that can kill Groudon in one shot. So Groudon sometimes it's safe to even go for Swords Dance. Then we went like a bit crazy. We tried doing like Sash Mushana with Trick Room, and then try and hypnosis everyone, but it didn't really work out at all. So in the end,
Question: Does instruct and sword stance work?
yes, yeah,
oh, that's sick.
that's
Oh my
fun.
god.
But it's a passive turn, so not a lot of people do
Well,
it.
yeah.
It's too much setup.
They get the +4,
That's
so
Yeah.
interesting, though, right?
So okay, so yeah, that was how the game played out. As for the
I do have to say, yeah, you guys played very well. Like just pretty much every turn again, like just solid plays overall. The lead was obviously good, especially against Leafeon. And then I was also confused as to why you wouldn't bring in a Lecky against a Skarmory that seems to be constantly setting up iron defenses like in every game.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe they were just
Just
too
felt
afraid
like
of the Sandaconda. So
But you have
Yeah.
Leafeon for Sandaconda, right?
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah. Oh well, yeah. Let's just see how things go.
And
If
like Aleki could even Eerie Impulse that Zapdos, so it's just
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Kind of odd. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Kaizen joined me this week because Hakim was watching soccer overnight, and then Chasing was busy. It was so fun. Like I think we had good teamwork. Then
Yeah, you guys did well. The plan was nice.
do you guys recognize these nicknames? Because if no one told me, I wouldn't recognize them. This
Tiny.
is from what, Dota 2, I think. All the heroes' names. And then Andrew said what, Sand King is a very appropriate name for Sandaconda. So quite cute.
There's a hero called Tiny.
Yeah. But it's
That's
very
kinda-
big. It's like a giant called Tiny. And then these
Okay.
nicknames I think are like actors or something. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I went to Google this. These are from a series of unfortunate events.
Oh.
Man, and that's what happened to Pokepals. RIP. God, if you are in chat, bad choice of nicknames. Next time, change it to something brighter. Okay,
Oh,
so
what's the Shellder nicknames? What's that? Who's Chris?
Shellder. Yeah, I
They're
think these are
actors, right?
actors. Yeah, names of actors. I think it's Whoopi Goldberg. This can be Annie Peters. Then it's Evan Rachel Wood. And then this is Eva Longoria.
Yep.
Yeah. From what? Desperate Housewives, right?
Well, I mean, she's in other things, but yes, that's what she's known for.
Yeah, but I don't watch those shows.
And who's
I
Chris?
the only I don't know. Chris can be anyone, right? Like, there's so many Chris's.
Okay.
Chris Pine,
Yeah,
Chris Pratt,
Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The only reason why I knew is because I googled just a while ago. Alright, so now we are at our final game that we are covering. So this is okay. Before that, apparently the Rapidazz were busy this week with school, and I understand because I saw Setsuku rushing like his projects. Then they gave the bye to Celebi, and that shaked up a few things because at one point Rapidazz had a 5-2 record, right? And then they were the reason why it's 6-2 is because I just wanted to factor in the buys next week for the Peony group to see a better picture. So that actually gave Celebi a very strong fighting shot into the 3rd or 4th place in our group. Yeah, but this
Or
was
second place.
True. We will talk about that later. So let's quickly touch on the last. No, this wasn't the last match that was played, but it was Mr. Torterra White versus the Yellowstone Yampers, and shout outs to Ted for helping Mr. Torterra White play this match because his teammates were busy, and I kind of fell asleep, like missing. Yeah, I just messed up the timings because of the time zones.
Yeah.
So I apologize to team for that. Yeah, let's talk about this match. It's a very close one and it's very back and forth. And I think well managed on team's side. And like props to his prep for that. Because I think the lines were very well thought through. And he had a plan even going into Trick Room. So that was good. So what happened was it was a clear Omanytes and Tangrowth lead. No Solrocks shenanigans from Yampers this week. Then Torterra led with Crocodile, and actually I believe it was Safety Goggles Frostless, or maybe they changed it to Sash last minute.
No, it was Goggles.
It was Goggles, right? That means
Yeah.
like Frostless easily threatened the Frost Breath into Crocodile to go burr. But there are a lot of things that Torterra was smart enough to consider. So, maybe the Omanytes might be Focus Sash, then they would still get Trick Room up, so it's still not safe. So Torterra went for the safe, like Crocodile Fire Fang into Tangrowth. Then the reason why they protected Frostless is because in the last minute Ted said, oh, I can maybe try and Will-O-Wisp, or I can try and Taunt, but a Taunt doesn't work on Aroma Veil or Omanytes, so they just, in the last second just went for Protect. Then actually Crocodile wasn't Anger Point, Crocodile was Moxie. Yeah, so Yampers were really, really pressured to go for the Follow Me, like the Rage Powder here, in case they, Crocodile gets set up and then just kills everyone with maybe Earthquake. So I think Yampers went for the safe Rage Powder Trick Room. Then in Trick Room, Tangrowth was able to just Sleep Powder everyone. So Torterra switched Crocodile into Celesteela, saving the Crocodile for later, and Celesteela avoided one Sleep Powder. So over here, Celesteela could have protected, and then Torterra could have switched in Gotitel to fake out, but they didn't, so Celesteela just took that one sleep turn. On hindsight, I feel like if the Tangrowth connected the first Sleep Powder, it's kind of the same thing because Celesteela had to still take a sleep turn. Then Tangrowth just slapped everyone, slapped Celesteela and Gotitel, but team was saying, look, Omanytes and Tangrowth, they don't put on a lot of damage, especially when Omanytes only had spread Dazzling Gleam. So that was very smart, trying to burn the sleep turns and wait for Celesteela to wake up. Then Yampers finally had to switch in Glastrier, but the Trick Room turns were running low, and they went for Omanytes Drain Punch into Glastrier Weakness Policy. That was sick. That was very smart. Then Glastrier was smart to go for the Max Hailstorm into Celesteela, forcing it to be a 2-hit KO if Celesteela Dynamax. And even if Celesteela went for Max Steel Spike to KO the Omanytes, it's still in KO range from another Hailstorm. So I think a good game plan from the Yampers side. Then after that Trick Room ended, Celesteela was able to take one more KO. Who was it? It was Omanytes and Tangrowth. Oh yeah. Then it was between like Crocodile and Charizard. Then Charizard went for Focus Blast, 70% and it hit. And then Crocodile survived, but it missed a Rock Slide. Because something's wrong. Yeah, but I know that it was just Charizard alone in the end game, and Crocodile missed that important KO on Charizard, so Charizard was still able to do a lot of damage into, pressure a lot of damage into Primarina.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so in the
Wasn't
end...
it Charizard Glastrier that they Rock Slided on?
Yes.
Yeah. And then they missed Charizard and then killed
yeah, and then
Glastrier.
Glastrier got the kill onto Crocodile, yeah.
Yeah.
Then it became 2v1 against the Frostless and Primarina slot. Yeah. But it's quite unfortunate because I felt like if Torterra didn't get the 3 sleep turns on Gotitel and also didn't miss that Rock Slide, then they would have probably won the game. Yeah, with the Mon advantage. And Crocodile would still be alive. Actually, no. Crocodile died to Glastrier.
It would have died anyway, but then
But it would still get the Mon advantage because it would be Primarina against Meowstic. And Meowstic, I think, didn't have any offensive move this week. Yeah, so unfortunate for team, and Mr. Torterra White, I think it was a very it's very sad to see this run in the regular season. Then sometimes it comes down to team prep, and then in this case it came down to the RNG during the game.
Guys, if there's a Tangrowth, Venusaur, Tangela, Meryl, prepare something for sleep. Like, just have something prepared for sleep.
Glacier and Zard, yeah. Then
Guys,
Spec says, we finally got lucky because Spec was, I hacked the Yellowstone Yampers out during our match. So that win could have been theirs. Yeah.
This was a bit lucky. Torterra White generally played well. There was a couple turns where like the first turn with the Frost Sauce, they could have just icy winded, I guess, but it doesn't really matter much. And
or why didn't they have a different move? Like, why didn't they have an attacking move?
Yeah,
like
I'm not quite sure why they had. Yeah, because the whole point of Goggles, like when I originally saw it, was to ignore the Tangrowth and then Frost Breath your own Crocodile. But they didn't even end up running it, so yeah.
Yeah, so this was a little bit of, I mean, like, team was sort of rushing, so if he first thought of that anger point strategy, but in the end he changed it up into Moxie, because he was afraid of Meowstick going for Trick Room instead.
Well,
that's fair. Yeah, it just didn't pay off.
Yeah, I'm not sure. In this case, like, I feel like Intimidate might even be better, right? For Glacier and Scav.
True.
Mm.
And Marowak.
Yeah. So
I will say the one turn.
If you're not gonna run Anger Point, then run Intimidate here.
True. Yeah, that's something that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that can always be improved on. So. Yeah, but that's how this played out. I thought. Celesteela and Glacier is actually something that we usually see in VGC. Then there's always this set game plan of you just max the Celesteela and the Glacier. Like if it doesn't have a weakness policy, then the Steel Spikes will match Glacier's chilling Nay boosts. Yeah, thanks again to Ted for helping out. Yeah, I think you did a good job as a teammate. So,
there was one turn where Tim wanted the Gothitelle to switch in, and we wanted to shout that out because having the Gothitelle against the Tangrowth and the Omanytes was really nice because even though their Celesteal went to sleep, it was just like you could just wait out the sleep turns and then get some damage off.
Yeah.
Also,
and they were also stalling Trick Room.
Right. And a couple of things here, like when you look at team, right, you see this team in team preview, and this is what we were able to identify in our team, right? Look at this team: Tangrowth, Glacier, Meowstick, and like Boltund or Marowak Kanto, right? And then Omanytes, Charizard, Escavalier, and like Boltund or Marowak Kanto. Regardless of what's in those lines, that's screaming Trick Room to me. So I would have led with Gothitelle to be able to stop Trick Room there.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Gothitelle seems good. You remember what Rapidazz did with their Gothorita against this lead? It was very effective. Like Gothorita,
they went for
Tangrowth, Omanytes.
They went for Safeguard first, and then they went to reverse the Trick Room on turn 2.
Yeah,
right.
And then just generally like they weren't doing any damage while Landorus was able to slowly chip down the other side.
Right, but like if they had led Gothitelle and Crocodile, right, they cover for the Zard lead and they cover for Trick Room. So it just felt
that's true.
That felt like it, like much better. I don't know. So that's what I thought. And like the thing is, like in that lead, you can set Trick Room, right? If you don't want Zard getting airstreams off or doing their stuff,
I see.
You set Trick Room. You just protect and you set the Trick Room that turn, and you're forcing them to now figure out what they're gonna do, right? So.
Yeah. Oh, Yampers said Zard lead was our OG plan. Good thing they didn't lead it because the Crocodile would have killed the Zard.
Right. So
I feel like also thinking through like for Mr. Torterra White, Cinderace Gothitelle could have been a very good lead too. Right?
Yeah, no, that's also another option, right? Gothitelle should have been. Gothitelle was flexible enough into this team. Like if you just look into what's what they could lead. Gothitelle was very flexible, and they can't even switch out anything, so you're basically free. So
Yeah.
Maybe they were scared of that Zoroark that has been coming like the past 3 games in a row.
Oh.
yeah, that's fine. Zoroark is scary, but
Yeah. No, I
you
do
deal
think the
with it.
Gothitelle
You
lead is
deal
good.
with it.
Oh, Yampers said Celesteela Frostless. That's a cool lead also. Like Icy Wind and then Max Rock fall into the Zard.
Oh.
Yeah. And then
Right.
Golf is always gonna be a nightmare for the Yampers side.
Yeah. So I just thought that like they could have identified that early
Yeah.
based on what team preview looked like.
Okay, quick shout
Yeah.
outs to your nicknames. I know that these are Roman gods, I think. Roman mythology. Like last time you guys did
Yeah.
Norse mythology. Are you guys like history buffs or something? Right, that's so cool. Yeah, so thanks for the participation and nicknames. And now, let's check out the leaderboards, right? So, can I apologize? I just put in the buys early, so we have Rapidazz and Torterra's scores down already. So these add up to 8 games. Yeah, whereas the Infernapes are sitting comfortably at the top. So even if they lose this week, we will still be in the top spot. And then if
Nice.
Celebi wins and they go 6-2, and if they win with a +2 differential, they will be 12, right? They win the head-to-head because this week Rapidazz gave them conceded the win, right? So that would put Celebi in 2nd place and even drop Rapidazz to 3rd place. So that might their decision this week might come back to bite them in the butt. However, if Celebi loses, they have to contend with 4 teams, right? So there's 5 teams now vying for the 3rd and 4th slot, and this last week is ever important. I think I did it right? Like what else do you guys have to say for this? I think for the Yampers is the toughest fight of all, right?
Yeah. We did discuss this earlier that they still have a chance to make it. They have to hope that Shellder and Pocket Rocket and Starboys all lose, right?
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah. So it's not literally impossible. It's technically possible.
It is possible.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but you have to just do what you can.
Yeah, just go
do your
into your
best.
game. Yeah, do your best. Like what? Who knows if you end up with a 5-0 differential and everything just goes your way. For the other matchups,
6-0. 6-0. Get that 6-0.
Literally impossible. It's borderline impossible. Spec. But it's possible.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's possible because this group is so close. Like at the beginning, we already said that this was the group of death, and you can see from everybody's performances, everybody is doing so well, fighting so hard, and we have 4 teams with a 4-3 record. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay, so this week, Infernapes are going up against the Starboys, so we are their gatekeepers. Because if Starboys lose, they will be 4-4 and they have to pray hard. Then Celebi is fighting. Let me check. Celebi is fighting Shellder. Jeez. Yeah, so these two. Then Team Pocket Rocket is fighting Yampers. Ah, I see. Oh my gosh, you guys are bringing a Charizard in front of a Colossal. That's gonna be tough. Yeah, I think Glacier needs to work very hard.
Oh no.
No wonder he says it's borderline. It's impossible. And then yeah, so that's all. And Rapidazz are fighting. Rapidazz got the bye. Branson Bulls. Yep. So this week is Infernapes versus Starboys, Celebi versus Shellder, Yampers versus Rocket. Yeah. Good luck to you guys. So
Yeah.
it's really up
It'll
to.
be real exciting.
I think it's really up to Starboys, Rocket, and Shellder to see who, and even Celebi to see who gets into this 3rd and 4th slot. It's getting so exciting even in the last week, and I'm very happy about that. Keeps everyone engaged all the way to the end. So let's quickly look at this. Let me refresh this if anyone what's that? Put in your team, the post battle forms. Oh, someone got. Oh no, Puff did it. Yay! This means we will get.
Oh, the Runerigas KOs.
Yeah, and then we get to really see if Runerigas managed to climb up or not.
I think so. It was already high.
Oh, okay.
It got like 3. Yeah.
No.
Wait.
Just
Togetic and the other thing. Yeah. Okay, 2. Togetic Zeraora.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's. Am I in I? Yeah. Here we go. Wait, what in the world? Oh.
Oh.
Oh no, come on.
What is this?
Wait, what are you looking at?
I like this view.
The top.
You have it separated by teams.
Yeah, I did. Ah, look at the homeless mons. Okay, updated. Yeah, wow, 3 mons are tied at the top. Height. Ta-da! 3 mons are tied at
there's
the tied at the
Runerigas.
top. Yeah. Alright, shoutouts to Scamry. 0 times max. 11 kills, let's go! Infernape!
Okay, and?
But then, I think Volcarona and Volcanion could very well be the #1 spot. I mean, these 3 share the #1 spot. And I think Volcanion, no surprise there. I think very good pickup. Such a niche typing, it's the only mon of this type. And you guys did well with your mythical Pokemon pick. And then Volcarona also working very hard. So, you know, Primarinas having 2 mons at the top. Very impressive. Oh, and then you guys spread out the max. Registeel, number of times max 2. Crazy. Ah, good job, Runerigas. Yeah, so Fast made it. So Runerigas is, you know, essentially the 3rd place mon. Tied with Solgaleo. Not bad. And yeah, I think next week will be Celebi's time to help make Palkia shine. So gotta try your best.
Palkia's doing well, so yeah, all of these.
Oh,
Blastoise.
Glastrier made it to the top as well with 6 kills.
Oh.
Little Swampert didn't even get a chance to come in.
Yeah, sitting behind Registeel this week.
That's
Yeah.
the problem. It's the same thing they have with their Skarmory and their Victini, where Victini doesn't get to do anything because the Skarmory's just in the way.
True. Yeah, so the only mon that feels weird here will be Mario. With 5 kills. Yeah. He should get an award.
None this week.
Meryl gets an MVP award
Yeah, Mario gets
for
an
being low
MVP.
booger. Oh, and this Gigas shouldn't be Gigas, it should be the other thing.
Ah, yes. It should be Genesect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do the editing later. Yeah, so overall, not a lot of kills this week. Because, you know, everybody's capping at 11. So, this shows how tight the competition is, you know, and then how balanced the game is. That not one mon can be too OP and then keep getting kills for a team every week. And this shows how balanced you guys drafted your team. So that's a good thing. Yeah.
The prize
so-
for the leaderboard, the kill leader thing, is going to someone that didn't make playoffs, right?
Yes.
So it could be very close between the Volcarona, the Runerigas, and the Solgaleo.
Yep. Yeah, but let's not jinx it. Let's touch it, and then let's hope everybody has a good chance to make it.
I'm not saying
into
I'm not saying
playoffs.
anything. I'm just saying maybe one of them will be it, right?
Yeah. We have Mantine. Okay, and it KO's Ko. Yeah. Good luck for everyone this week. Then just one last thing, the Peony group. Congrats to the Infernapes and the Yampers for taking your wins, and the Celebis for taking that sneaky conceded win.
Oh.
Yeah. So we did 1.5 hours. Yes. So this will be our week 7 recap, and tune in for next week. Week 8 is definitely gonna be an exciting one.
Yeah.
Any-
I hope the
any
games are as good
closing-
as the scenario.
Any closing thoughts from you guys about this week's matches? Because I thought this week's matches were pretty well managed and well played, and I feel like the prep is improving. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone's
definitely.
getting better going into playoffs, so it's going to be crazy. And then in playoffs, everything's going to change because we're going to go best of 3. So,
Mm.
Yeah. So
and
I'll-
Evan still has to figure out if we can
correct.
switch
Yeah.
lines.
So I'm
or
gonna
not.
give you guys an. I'll talk about it with my council, and then I'll give you guys an update. In response to, it wasn't about the Mantine. What about the
Yeah,
buy?
I wasn't talking about Mantine.
Yeah, you guys,
Mantine's cool.
Solrocks are gonna win this week because of your buy. So very comfortable and good performance. So we'll get to see. You guys will take a break this week, and then we'll get to see how you guys do in playoffs, and then no more excuses for last minute prep, right? Because you have 1 week to get your team together. Yeah. Oh, one last thing to mention to everybody who's watching this before I end this part in my YouTube video. Week 8 you'll be making trades. So but the thing is the other teams might also be making trades. So it doesn't make sense for you to make trades just to try and counter everybody's team, because it's impossible. So you have to put things in perspective and go with the mindset of making trades to make your team more coherent, get better type synergy or something. And then for most teams, I feel like these teams are okay, and then you have already played with your team for 8 weeks already, so you would have been comfortable with what your team can do and what secrets you haven't revealed, right? So I think these traits are like not the most important. So do what you can with the traits and see what's appropriate for you, because I don't think a lot of teams would have to make these trades on week 8. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah. So thanks for
Yeah, makes sense.
watching, and see you guys next week on week 8.
Thank you.
And KS, anything else to add? No?
No, thank you.
Nice. Yeah. That was good. That was a good recap. And I'm so happy to finally reach our last week of regular season, and I think this has been a pretty successful league thus far,
Yep.
all things considered. So now let's rate ATX. Yeah. Wait, where's...
Yeah. Is Poppy playing?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You guys should get Puppy or your intern to play. Oh, Red Channel. Wait, how do I
He has to
spell?
play next week too, right? Yeah. So.
I need some help. Is it ATX_VGC? That's all?
Yes. Yes.
Nice, it got through. Cool, okay, yeah. I think oh yeah, asking is Puppy playing? Yes, Puppy is playing in one of the later matches in the stream. Yeah, so let's just go over there and have fun. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And
Yeah, thank you.
This is so rare to have a recap stream on a Monday. Yeah, so good job.